the toolboxes were meant to have wheels so you could roll them out type stuff.
So I'm gonna be straight with you. It's one of the main reasons why I left working for the dealership. I got tired of seeing what was being done to all the technicians. I got tired of seeing what was being done to the customers. I got tired of seeing what was going on at a manufacturing level. I got tired of honestly seeing everything that the manufacturer and the dealerships were getting away with, because there was nobody for us. And I've been done wrong so many times in this industry so far, working on a professional level at the dealership level. I gave a 1 month notice when I was working at a Ford dealer down in Louisiana, and unfortunately they did me wrong. 2 weeks into that 1 month notice, the reason I was leaving was because my father was in the hospital. My mother was afraid she was going to lose him. She needed me to be home to help take care of the family. And I had taken a job where I was promised $40 an hour, a company truck, and a foreman position. I moved 18 hours across the country to go work at this dealership, and I was paid $32 an hour, no company truck, and a foreman position. I was the one with the most experience in the shop, and every single job other than interior work went to me. There was nobody else in the dealership that could take on that workload. I was the only one. There was a guy that had been working for Ford for 30 some years, and he had only done interior work, and he refused to do any other work other than interior work because he really wasn't brought up in the industry to do any other work, and he didn't want to learn. He was old and seasoned and set in his ways, and he didn't care. So I was left to do all the gas work, all the diesel work, any interior work that he couldn't handle, and then he would hoard all the jobs that were good paying jobs because of his seniority, even though I was the foreman on the floor. So I was so caught up with everything that was going on and being abused daily, taking on every single amount of workload that would come through that dealership, and I had 2 lube techs and 2 helpers. It was hard to keep up with everything, especially somebody that hadn't been with Ford for any substantial amount of time. You know, I'd only been with Ford for a few years at the time, but I had every single certification that you can get, so I was very valuable to the company. In order to do warranty work, you've got to have a certain amount of certifications in the shop to do that. So what do? They abused me. They used me. They moved me 18 hours across the country, lied to me, knew that I would be lockstep in. I couldn't go nowhere. And they knew that that was enough pay because anywhere else in the area wouldn't pay that high. They lied to me to get me in the door. They got me in the door. And I worked there for over a year, and I got every certification I could possibly get. And then the issue happened with my father. I gave them a 1 month notice to find somebody that they could bring into the area, use, abuse, whatever it was to replace me. And 2 weeks into it, they told me to go ahead and pack my stuff up. I wasn't going to receive a paycheck, and that get lost. That's the kind of treatment I got. Meanwhile, the owner of the company had been known in the area to traffic drugs through the dealership and had gotten in trouble many times in the past with the law. People that he would hire at the dealership were ex-cons and druggies and stuff like that, so that's all they could get to work there. Any other honest, decent, educated person in the area wouldn't work for him. He had a couple dealerships. Then moving on later to other dealerships and eventually ending up where I was at. Overall, good, honest, hard work. The manufacturers don't give a shit about you. And they nickel and dime you until they can get everything they can out of you. Service advisors with the favoritism and stuff, and then them having the ability to run you dry and actually dictate your paycheck because they don't like you or they do like you. A service manager that doesn't like you or does like you, then run you right out of that business if they really want to. But I'm too damn stubborn for any of that to happen, and I would make my own way no matter what. Then you get hurt at a place like that, and they run you ragged until you want to quit or something. Luckily, I ended up getting out when I did, because now the company's actually closing down. I found out a couple weeks ago that Ford had told them that they are not selling enough vehicles to actually be in business. They're closing the doors. They've only got, I think, a week or 2 left, and the business is closed, and the technicians have to go to other dealerships they're not certified in the business, and then start all over again. Some of them are probably going to leave the industry because they've been with Ford for 30 plus years and they don't know anything else other than Ford. But going to the dealership that I was at, where they closed down, I learned a lot from them. Don't get me wrong, and they were very good to me. But at the same time, I got to see the inner workings and the politics of actually how the manufacturers do business. I got no recognition when I found more and more faults of things right from the factory. And the more I dug into things, and I actually found out from people that I've met through social media over the years that how these manufacturers actually run, I know a lot more than a lot of the guys here know, because of our influencers' outlook and our reach and who we meet in the industry. I've met engineers across the board that literally were on the launch, like at the plant with the vehicles launching, seeing problems happen and hearing the stories right from them, verbatim, from their mouth, saying that they had advised to the higher-ups that this vehicle is being launched 9 months too early. This should not happen right now. There's too many faults and failures that we're seeing sent off the line. They had sent them anyway. They could not stop the process. Thousands of vehicles had been crushed in the process, and millions of dollars crushed and wasted just to get some of the flaws out, in order to get some of the vehicles out to the customer so they could at least drive it, and we'll figure the rest of it out in the future. After being exposed to this and seeing this type of treatment to the customer, to the employees, to the engineers and stuff like that, it really started to make me see at the end of the day it comes down to the mighty dollar. It really comes down to the short-term gain of how much money can we make right now, and we'll deal with the rest in the future. Even if we lose, right now we need to see the numbers. Doesn't matter overall if we lose overall. Right now we need to see the numbers. And it's the ass-backwards way of doing business, but it's the way the model is run. And now Ford dealers are closing down because they're not selling cars. The markups are crazy. The dealerships marking vehicles up $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 plus on top of what the sticker is. It's left a bad taste in the mouth for the consumer across the board. Not just Ford, Kia and their junk engines, Hyundai and their junk engines, stiffing the customer every time they turn around. Non-stop issues. So now, what's the only way that I could honestly make an impact other than being a social media influencer here on this platform? Transition to the independent side and become a general manager and actually make a difference. Actually care about my employees and make the changes that I needed to make, treating the customers correctly, being a role model for other people out there, and doing the right fucking thing in this business. Should have been done across the board from every single person that was able to make those decisions. And some of you can't make those decisions, but now I can. And I promise, with everything that I have, to treat every single employee, every single customer across the board as fair as I possibly can, and do everything that I possibly can to make their life better. That's why I did what I did. Now I am the general manager of Brighton Automotive in Chicago, Illinois. And I promise to you, the main reasons why I left the dealership life, the corporate life, is because I was going nowhere. It's not going to make a difference being just a number on the floor. I needed to be something more than what I was. I needed to strive and try to achieve something more than what I was in order to make a difference in the world. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. Honestly, the dealership life is a safe, secure environment if you're hourly in your union. If you're flat rate with no protection, you can get fucked at any moment. It doesn't matter. Nothing to protect you. Now I actually see that the only way for me to grow and achieve things is by either going up to corporate from the dealer, if that's where you're at, becoming management in the dealer, if that's where you're at, or leaving the corporate structure of the manufacturer world and becoming an independent guy, and then moving up into management and managing or creating your own business. The technician shortage is real, and it's not going to get better. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So I want to see more people starting their own businesses and taking that transition into the independent side, so they can honestly see what it's like to be treated not just as a number, but as somebody that actually matters. Y'all be blessed. Take care. Have a great evening. Happy Memorial Day. Remember those who have given their ultimate sacrifice for this country. I served. But it's not Veterans Day. It's Memorial Day. We've lost some. Thank them, not me. I love y'all.